Kenya has been used, if you like, as a test case. Ocampo famously called it the example. But when you look at what has been happening through the Arab Spring, we haven't really seen pro-West or Western-friendly countries that may have a case to answer before such a court indicted at all. Why the apparent double standards?
I think the issue is not a question of resources or whatever, but the nature of investigations or evidence which comes up indicating that crimes, and particularly crimes against humanity, has been committed. It has to pass a certain threshold for the ICC to come in. And also we have to be clear here, ICC often steps in if the country concerned either cannot, because it doesn't have the capacity, or unwilling to put the accused on trial. There's the complementarity principles work here. I know people indicate that the court has focused lots of attention on Africa. And I believe why that has happened is also because we don't have developed court judicial systems. And sometimes, in fact, it's the African governments who have referred some of the cases to the court.
Let's move on to the global food crisis. You're recently quoted as saying that it is a moral failure, if you like. Are Western policies responsible for this moral failure in Africa, Africa's perennial inability to feed itself?
I don't think it's only, we shouldn't point fingers only at the West. We should point fingers also at ourselves. When you look around the continent, the bulk of the food is produced by women. They get hardly any support from our government. They get hardly any financial support, management advice, marketing advice. They sink or swim by themselves. And yet we are a continent that is able to produce cash crops because the incentives are there. You produce tea, coffee, flowers. Why can't we organize ourselves in such a way that we can do the same for the staple foods that we require?
Some say those are the technical solutions and not really the political ones that address unfair trade policies.
No, that is another story. Unfair trade policies is something that I've been talking about and pushing the West on, where the Western farmers, both in America and in Europe, get huge subsidies to produce and export, which often places the African or the farmers in the third world at a disadvantage. So there has to be a level playing field. But to be able to take advantage of the global market, we need to do some of the things that I'm talking about. Of course, if you remove the unfair advantage that the others have, Africans may be able to export more, but you need to have the produce to export. You need to have scientific research to make sure the farmers have the right seeds, that is pest resistant, drought resistant, and in fact today in Asia they're even doing a seed which is flood resistance, where rice fields have been covered with water for 3 weeks and it springs up.
Finally, the UN Security Council, members have been accused of abusing their powers in favor of their economic partnership with other countries. Case in point, Eritrea. For Russia, China are said to have played a major role in having the UN resolution watered down for their own interest. Is it time to do away with that 5 permanent membership and to allow Africa and other countries that are gaining footing on the global stage to sit there?
No, as Secretary General, I made serious proposals for the reform of the Security Council, because the Council, with its current composition, reflects the geopolitical realities of 1945. And it is not going to be possible to remove the 5 permanent members or remove the permanent seats with veto. What is required, in my judgment, is to create additional permanent seats. In fact, in my proposal, I suggested there should be 2 permanent seats for Africa, one for Latin America because North America has one, and 2 additional ones for Asia, so that you make the council more representative and democratic. And if you do that, it will gain in greater legitimacy, and I believe it would also change the quality of the decisions that the council takes.
Is it time?
I think it's high time. And when I made the proposal in 2005, I thought it was time, and it is time to do that. But it's now in the hands of the members.
Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.